Good Monday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about all my cars and trucks and motorcycles, SUVs, the adventures. There's my old sticker. Here's my new sticker. And wow, look at the Monday morning upon us. And I'm actually overdressed. Yes, I should just t-shirt. I don't even need this pullover. It is warm out here. Hey, good Monday morning there for all those that watch my channel. Appreciate your support and hope you had a blessed weekend. I hope you had a blast with your family and had the Easter Sunday and had a chance to be together, and just hopefully everybody was in a good spirit, being it was a special weekend if you're biblical and religious. But wow, a lot of people are probably saying, what are you still doing here? Hey, Mr. Iceman, why are you still here? Which, right, why am I still here? Well, yesterday after I made this video, the wife informs me that she'd like to stay another day. And I was like, hey, that's great. And so we went to church regardless, but we decided to stay another day, and actually gave me some time to clean up my trailer, and it just gave us more time to get things in order, to get out of here. Plus, I was able to make my mother-in-law and wife and daughter a nice evening breakfast last night, which was really, really beautiful evening. And as you can see today, it is overcast, but it's warm. I mean, it's humidor, so it's very nice out here. But last night we had a great time out here when I made a really good barbecue chicken dinner with the mushrooms and green beans, and we had rolls, onions, and just a really great evening. I got to clean this grill up before I leave. I really like this McGriddle. Actually, I'm kind of getting to know how to use it right. So they are really cool, and they're not that expensive either. There's my speaker. So we just had a great evening sitting here watching the sunset, but I was so busy of doing so many different things yesterday, if you watch my channel, that we ran out of time, and for the most part, the sun set on us, and we were eating out here in the dark, but it was a great time. And as always, we have to escape and go back home and go back to routine and take care of all the things up north, and everybody knows that story. And so the word of the day is escape. I thought, hey, we haven't had the escape conversations, and if anybody's really watched my channel, you'll see I escaped a major crash that could have been life-ending or life-crippling. And I said to myself, why don't I put this up on my nice new TV? I love this TV out of the garage. If you really watch my channel, I'm sure you're like, oh yeah, Mr. Iceman got his man cave finalized, because he now has TV. Where's the bikes? Bikes are in the trailer. Thank God they're all in peace. So here we are. Wow, just about crashed. That was on Saturday afternoon. We're coming back in from going to Hot Springs, North Carolina. We went down to Asheville, North Carolina. Had some really great riding time. So let's look at this together. So I'm drinking my coffee, so I'm sorry if I'm distracting you, but let's watch this, because sometimes through videos, I don't know if you get really how close this was. And for my daughter, she was about in tears of what she was getting ready to witness, because she was behind me. But I've taught her over the years, you got to stay behind me, pace behind me, but be back from behind me, because if she had been right there with me, it could have been really a nasty accident if she wasn't paying attention as I locked it up. And a lot of people are asking, did I hit the front lever for the front brake? I didn't, but my understanding is that the bike has basically a dual braking system. That's what I think, but let's just watch this together. I was doing like 52 miles an hour. So if you see here, he's going down. So see, this happens so quick, I don't know if you really can get that effect. See, look, 52 I think I hit. 52, and she comes out of nowhere. And I've locked it up right there, and then trying to go right to escape from hitting her. So that is the closest call. That is the closest call ever for me on a motorcycle crash. And so I would have hit her at like 40 miles an hour. If you look at my speedometer, it got down to like 38 miles an hour. And if you also look at the oncoming car, this could have been a really terrible accident, because had she hit this car coming towards us, the white car, had that been involved in a crash, then that would have wiped me out and my kid out. So that girl truly just about did a lot of destruction to a lot of people. So, and like I say, my daughter, she was blown away how she thought I hit the car. So she thought I actually hit like the back bumper of it. You can hear my brakes locking up. Wow. So just incredible. So did I escape? Wow. Did I escape a life-ending injury? I mean, sincerely. I mean, people know. You know, the saying is that if you come off a bike at 30 miles an hour, it's like jumping off a 3-story building. So for all those reached out and really, you know, gave support to me, but, you know, meaning, wow, man, you know, just incredible to have so many people reach out to say, wow, I'm so glad that didn't happen to you. So, yeah, wow. You know, does that make you think twice about getting back on a bike? Well, for me, I've had other close incidents throughout my riding years. I mean, I've had very close incidents, but that's the closest to date for me. So anybody knows, you ride a motorcycle, the odds are something's going to happen. I mean, that's just, the odds are against you on a motorcycle. If you haven't crashed a motorcycle, then you don't ride. If you haven't dropped your motorcycle, you don't ride. So escape, how can we take the cars and trucks, as my throat goes to heck, how can we take the cars, trucks, motorcycles, the escape conversation? Well, I think we can, because look at what we do in life. The motorcycles are in the trailer, but I think the number one thing you hear about motorcycle enthusiasts is they escape. They escape the routine, meaning that they get on that motorcycle and you're out in this free air. You're just out in the road. Your mind clears up and you really do escape from your normal routine. If you're just look at that Ram TRX. That truck is so much fun. I can't get over how I was so on the page. I didn't think I was really get one. I kind of started feeling, nah, I'll just wait for the Raptor R. Just incredible. So thanks, Leesburg Dodge, for helping me get that truck at a reasonable price. I finally got what I wanted for the price I wanted to pay. And it really is nice. So anyways, and the tires are original. Those aren't bigger tires. That's the factory Goodyear tires, as far as I know. I'm sure those aren't, the guy didn't change those out. But some people think that the underinflated tires were because it's a different size tire and you run a little lower pressure, but whatever. That's a whole other miles per gallon thing. So the escape, so you're on a motorcycle, it gives you a chance to escape. I mean, that's the whole kind of theme of the motorcycles. You'd see the movies. I mean, it's just so much fun to get on a motorcycle, and you truly just kind of separate yourself from the routine of your life and the things that are going on through your brain. And as you know, as you progress in life, you always are having the mental challenges of things that you've done or need to do, relationships, and it clutters your mind. And so for the motorcycle riding, what I've noticed is it truly does clear up your mind. It just gives you that so much more of a free-spirited feeling of being out in the road, and just is so much fun where you sometimes you just don't want to come back home. I've said it many times. You just don't want to come home. You just want to keep on riding and riding and riding. And so the motorcycles, I think most here that are most motorcycle enthusiasts, they would agree that riding a motorcycle definitely gives you that freedom and escape feeling. So then you go to the cars. Well, I think we can look at cars for the escape, the routine, where you go on a road trip. Like right here, I'm able to take my toys with me and go somewhere else, and I escape my usual routine of being up north by having this truck and trailer. So it gives me great pleasure that I can travel to Florida, travel to Tennessee, and I have to have different trailers, and I can bring my pride and joy of my fun that gives me my escape feeling when I travel. And that's a great thing. Why do people buy RVs? People buy RVs, like my friend Chris and Shannon. They have a fifth wheel RV. They love to go camping in that because it gives them a chance to escape the routine. And you get to see new, sorry for the dry throat. I need to get some water. It gives you a chance to escape your own backyard, where now you get to go set up your camper and you set up in the right park or near the ocean or whatever it may be. That you get to see different scenery and you just feel like you escaped your routine. That's why the camping and RV don't even have to be a fifth wheel trailer. It could be a tent, but you ride up the side of the mountain in your Jeep, Bronco, be your motorcycle, whatever it may be, and you get to escape from once again, you get up in the woods, and you just try to get, got a bunch of food for the raccoons. My mother-in-law takes care of the raccoons down here. So they show up, but I got to get some water. That's why I'm over here. If anybody here is like, what are you doing over there, man? I can get some water in my throat, so excuse me. So when you talk a lot, if you watch my daughter and I went to the Bass Pro Shops, you should watch that video. The last one is coming home, and the daughter about going nuts if their father talks too much and wears her out. So the escape, once again, these cars and trucks, motorcycles, they give us that opportunity to escape from the routine. And that's the thing, you go back to the early 1900s, it was a very powerful statement to own a vehicle. It was a status, it was wealth, it was an opportunity for a person to be able to drive somewhere. I've talked about this many times on my channel, is the opportunity for you to go somewhere. And for mankind, it was with his own 2 feet or 4 feet of an animal. And so, but as time progressed, mankind figured out how to get something to roll, and everything started, the chariots, back to the Roman ages, and the horses. And so, but for us in modern day, we now have an escape through what is a huge challenge, more than ever, of what these things have created for mankind, of the escape, but also for what it's done to Mother Nature Earth, where it goes to the constant conversation of so many people want us to let go of these ICE vehicles for the electric vehicle. And so many people aren't so excited about that idea, and some are and some aren't. So, but you think about where we are in today's society of escaping, you think about what the pandemic did for us escaping. Look how many people no longer go to an office. So many people now have the remote work at home, and so they've escaped the whole routine of what so many of us of my age group grew up with, was getting out of bed in the morning and driving to work, and then being at work, and then eventually driving back home. And I'm sure many people during those days of sitting in the hours and hours of traffic, and I'm not saying that people don't do, people still do this, but there's a large percentage of people that don't anymore. And so they've escaped the routine. And that was the biggest thing that I think people was so aggravating, having to drive to work for an hour or two. And sometimes you had no choice. If you wanted a decent house, you usually had to move out to the suburbs or the rural area to be able to afford a less expensive house, and just to escape the city of where you worked, because you didn't want to pay the high rent for an apartment or condo, or you want to pay the high money, or you couldn't afford the higher expensive homes close to your job. So you were forced to go further out and live away from your office, which turned it into you having to drive many hours and spend money on fuel. And it was just very aggravating in some ways, because you couldn't afford to be closer. And in some ways you didn't want to be closer. You wanted to be in the rural areas. I mean, what has happened in this country more than ever is the amount of people that have left the cities to be in the suburbs and the rural areas. It's huge. It's all because of this remote work that's created an opportunity for people to escape being in the prison, being in the cell. I mean, sincerely, who doesn't know the story of driving to work to be in this office building where you're in a closet all day long, and it's just, and you're freezing butt, or you're too hot, or you're having to deal with the personalities of people you just don't really want to have to deal with. But the job requires you to be there to do the work, and it's either you put up with the nuisance, or you have to quit and move on. So for you, but I'm sure so many people, and even as I speak right now, think to themselves, I would just like to escape, my current life. I mean, that's a whole nother avenue of where we've witnessed more than ever in our life in this country, of the overdose of fentanyl and drug abuse, where it's its highest level ever in this country. That people are wanting to escape. People want to escape the life that they live. I mean, that's what drug abuse is. That's what alcoholism is. It's somebody's not happy with who they are in their life, and they want to escape the reality of life. And sadly, I tell my daughter all the time that yes, people eventually do escape permanently once you get on these drugs. And if you're a person playing with fentanyl, yes, you will escape your life that you live, and you won't be here anymore. And sadly, there's so many stories of parents with young kids. I say kids because they're kids, teenagers, and there's sad stories of, adults, young adults that have escaped this world because they get addicted to these drugs that overtakes your body and controls your body. And I talked about that here a while back about what's the difference between medicine versus drug. Versus one is to heal your body. Another one is to actually take control of your body. So drugs aren't to heal your body per se. They're to take control of your mind and body. Medicine is designed to help you heal. And but I've had those, you can look back. I'm surprised some people don't just go through the files and files of all my video content of me sharing views and ideas and thoughts as I walk back and forth here with the truck. And I know you're probably getting seasick, but I don't have the office thing, and I don't have my little tripod thing, so I'm not doing that. Plus, I like to walk around. So the escape, we're living in times due to the social media, the internet. I mean, think about the internet. What is going on more than ever in our life? That people just sit behind a computer screen, and they don't go outside. They don't have much of a social life outside of their computer. That their escape in life is to go sit behind a screen of a computer. And then sadly, some of these people are very nasty people that want to get on like the X. So you go to X. Everybody here needs to go to X just to see what goes on. And in some ways, I'm sure some people are like, I just don't really want to go on X because, yes, I hear what you're saying, Mr. Iceman. It's just nasty-ass people mouthing off that think that they're the smartest people in the world, and they have these political views that are so lopsided. It's really, truly sad. And for the most part, you feel like they're being paid by somebody to run their mouth all day, always promoting one person over another person. Love one person and hate another person. But that's their escape. Sadly, we live in an age in society where people use the internet to escape who they really are. And it's really bad because it creates the hate. And that's a strong word. And even for me, I don't really like to use that word. But the sad part is we live in an age where the social media has created and divided this country, I feel, more than ever through hate, not love. I mean, sadly, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of love on these forums as well. But at the same time, it's people are trying to escape their own unhappiness of who they are. Why do you have to get on X and start mouthing off about how great one guy is and how much you hate another guy if you're happy with the way the things are? Why do you have to get on the internet and mouth off? I mean, if you're happy in life, do you go around and belittle other people? I mean, sincerely. I mean, what is that all about? I mean, if you're happy with the way things are, do you go out of your way to then go, mouth off to people? I mean, does that make any sense? But that's what goes on the social platforms, is people want to portray that they're this really happy person from the current, environment and the way they are and live, but yet they want to yell at you and be nasty at you. Why? It has to be an escape of their own reality that they're not really happy. You look at Elon Musk. What is Elon Musk doing? One subscriber brought it up the other day in my conversations. He's like, right, Elon Musk, he's building SpaceX because when it comes to show that the electric vehicles didn't solve the world's problems and Mother Nature's problems, Mother Nature Earth, he's going to want to get on that SpaceX and go to Mars so he can escape from everybody wanting to track him down. That he was he really wasn't. In all sincerity, China is really don't take it the wrong way for Elon Musk. I like Elon Musk, but he's a double-edged sword. I think he does great things. And there's even an article in the Wall Street Journal talking in so many ways the same way I'm talking from a journalist of what the good and the bad is of Elon Musk. But Elon Musk, I think he just plays off something else and he makes it better. The word in business is, people ask me for business advice, is don't reinvent the wheel. That's a common phrase. That's nothing new. I didn't make it up. Just make the wheel better. That's the goal. If you can make something better, that's a really great thing to do. So for Elon Musk, he just basically took the China business model, because the Chinese were building electric vehicles back in the 2000 years, and I've talked about it numerous times on my channel, that the China industrialization government influx is what created electric vehicle surge in China. And I've said it many times too, that this Inflation Reduction Act that the Biden administration signed off on is in so many ways the same blueprint of what China did back in the 2000 years of the government handing out billions of dollars to create initiatives to change the way that this country uses vehicles, from the ice age to the EV age. Challenge is, in this country, the people are starting to kind of pull back. They're just not buying into the gig. And get this, so my sales guy yesterday sent me a text. I'm going to see if I can find it on my phone. I'll even show it to you if I can find it. And you can see what he said. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So, let's see here. I've got messages. And I just don't feel like showing all those. So where is he? So here's my friend. So here we go. So he sent me Happy Easter. So he sends me a Mustang Mach-E. Can you even see it? Mustang Mach-E. For $20,888. Huh. Now, I'm sure that's the lower end. It was originally $54,000, I think, if you can see that. Can you see that? It's hard to kind of see. So $20,000. I'll try and get in there. 2023, automatic. I don't know how many miles are on it. I'm trying to find the mileage. Can you see that? So it's like, gee, thanks. Gee, thanks. So yeah, I mean, I think if you're smart, obviously you're smarter than me. If you didn't buy an electric vehicle, you're not going to get caught up in this EV agenda, because you're going to get burned like I've gotten burned. And if you really watch my channel, I'm sure many people will be like, yeah, the Iceman got burned all right. I mean, he really did. I mean, no lie. On the fact that I got caught up in the EV. But you know what? Really, with me buying these EV vehicles was for me to really figure out the truth and reality of them, never realizing that they would tank that much. I mean, just for me to think that my $64,000 Mach-E is now worth, I mean, you know, there's a fine line there. If you look at anything you buy, the pandemic created such a false narrative of cars. I mean, it really did. I mean, the conventional cars, you go out and buy a car, and it's going to be worth 20-30% less. So if you go out and buy a $60,000 car, the reality is it's going to take an 18 or 20 grand hit. So it's going to be worth 40 grand. Wholesale. I'm not talking retail. Wholesale. That's just the way it is. But for some reason, the pandemic has made everybody believe if you buy a $60,000 car, it's still going to be worth $50,000 or $55,000. It's not. It's not. Just like this truck here. I paid 93 grand for it. My guess would be I'd be lucky to get 90 grand for it right now. It may be in the 80s now because of Ford is back producing trucks so much that they have too many. So, yeah, how do you escape that? And there's the thing. How do you escape when you're buried into a car? What do you do? Well, yeah, you quit making payments, right? Then what happens? Yeah, eventually the guy shows up with a truck and takes your car away. And he escapes with your vehicle unbeknownst to you. Yeah, what's one of the most popular car, I'm talking not a movie, I'm talking real car chase escape time in modern times. And for people of the Generation Zs, you're not going to know that answer. But for people that are even the millennials won't know that. So yeah, it'll be the baby boomers for the most part, and X, I guess, or the Ys, whatever all the alphabetical terms are for all these different age groups. But the whole point is O.J. Simpson. If you're my age, do you remember that live video of O.J. Simpson in the Ford white Bronco driving down the highway in California? I mean, was that the greatest escape video of ever? I can still remember me being at dinner with my first wife, where we went to this really extravagant dinner, and somehow the television, I mean, back in like 1992 or 93, whatever year that was, that happened, just so you know. So that was like, that was 30 years ago, over 30 years ago, like 31 or 32 years ago. The O.J. Simpson, who, you know, the claim was that O.J. Simpson killed his wife, you know, and sure, and who didn't Who didn't watch the O.J. Simpson trial, right? I mean, oh my gosh. I remember my mom having friends down that they hadn't seen in ages, and they spent the whole week out at my parents' house hanging out watching the O.J. Simpson trial. That's how much attention it got. I mean, no lies. I was like crazy. You guys are all hanging out around the pool, sunning, and watching the O.J. Simpson trial out with, it's like, yeah. So the greatest escape, I think, is O.J. Simpson. I'd like to hear somebody else's opinion about that. But what gets a ton of freaking video on the YouTube channel is when you're in a cruiser and a Dodge Charger, escapes a police officer, or a Chevy Camaro, or a Challenger, or, whatever car. They'll have a video and people will clamor to that stuff, and they'll watch this police chase down, or a motorcyclist. Who doesn't like those videos? Those are huge videos, huge views, where people watch the individuals try to escape and evade the police. Sadly, how many videos have you seen of that? And then the end result is somebody's usually dead, or somebody gets shot. Yeah, how many times you've seen that, where the cop goes up to the cars, he's walking the car takes off. They're escaping. Why are they escaping? Because they know they're going to be in jail. Or they think for some reason that they escape, the police will never figure out who it was, and they won't eventually have a person knocking on their door. Yeah, who doesn't have the stories of the police going to the guy's neighbor's house as he's running out the back door to escape from being taken to jail? Yeah, we know that as well. So, who was the famous escape artist? Houdini? So you go back and what is that, the late 1800s, early 1900s, where the master escape artist was Houdini, where he could unshackle himself. Yeah, for the younger generation, they may not know all that, but what's the intriguing about magic? When you go to watch these shows where a magician can escape, and there's some really very famous magicians out there that show them being in one place, and then they transport themselves to another place where they mysteriously escape from where they are to somewhere else. I mean, that's very intriguing, and that brings a lot of content and makes these magicians very famous for them being, in so many ways, escape artists, and how they can take things and right in front of your eyes, you have you witness that you don't believe it. It's like, how did that happen? Yeah, maybe. And then here's the next thing is, what's a huge problem is the cybersecurity, where the thieves today aren't knocking on your house to steal all your money and escape out the back door. The thieves today are breaking into your computer network, and they're escaping out through your router, or whatever it may be, or they've hacked into one of a big bank, AT&T, whatever it may be. These cyber people now, how do they escape? How do they escape with all your information? That's a huge trend growing. It's not going to stop. I talked about it the other day. That's a huge, it's happening as I speak. People are diligently working right now and trying to hack information to steal money and to steal identities that will enable them to escape them having to actually work a regular job. And think that through. What is going on more than this country is illegals are escaping their own country to come to our country. But why? Why are they escaping their country? Well, it's obvious, because their country, in so many ways, isn't taking care of them the way they should. But in other ways, they're being told that America will let you escape your dire straits of the country you live in. So you come to America, and America will pay your way. I mean, more than ever, I think that's the message. If you just watch that one young kid in TikTok that was running his mouth, and he got, I think, kicked off of TikTok, about how you could go live in somebody's house and what are they going to do to you? You can go to the squatters thing. There's a whole other major challenge right now in this country, that the governing bodies are basically supporting squatters. It kind of gets more in depth, and I'm not really all engrossed in that. But the point is that more than ever, I think, you go back years ago, people would leave their country, escape their country, to come to our country for an opportunity to be better. And I think that, don't get me wrong, I think there's a lot of people that continue to come here for that. But sadly, I think the message today is that this governing body is saying, come to America, escape your country, come here because we'll take care of you at the taxpayer's expense. I mean, once again, it kind of gets very, detailed. There's you hear a lot of information, what's factual, what's not. sometimes that's hard to differentiate. That's very challenging. And what you're really hearing, what is really true of what's going on with the governing bodies of paying people to live in hotel rooms and paying people to have debit cards, basically, or free credit cards. So, but for them, you think it through. It's like they're escaping their own reality of their own country, and what may be going on more than people realize. Maybe somebody back in that country, as it's talked about, has some criminal records, so they can escape their country, come to our country, and they can escape that life they created for themselves. And now they're here, and it's like, okay, so I can start all over again. Or maybe they have massive debt. Maybe they're back home and they got married and had kids, and they've got child support, and they've got financial obligations. They're just not making it. So like, you know what? I'm going to escape. I'm going to go to America. I'm just going to wipe everything. I'm gone. And then, he leaves behind a wife and kids because he wants to escape what he created. And then he wants to come here and start all over. I mean, that's a huge problem. That goes on. I mean, what's the number one problem in this country? In marriage. Close to half the people escape the marriage. They're not happy. They get divorced. And in that, what goes along with that? It's the escape of the obligations. Not everybody, but a lot. I mean, it hits close to home for me and my family, with my sister and her ex-husband, of who pays for the kids. Who pays for the kids? Yeah, so many ways. I paid for the kids. My dad paid for the kids. Don't take it the wrong way if my sister's saint is watching my video. But sadly, this goes on in relationships all the time. And don't get me wrong. There are incredible parents who get divorced, and the father and mother stay determined, and they make it all work. And I know that. And there's parents that have gone all their way. I mean, it's very, very interesting to hear the different stories of what plays out with kids growing up and how the parents treat them and what ends up being the good or the bad. But once again, here our country, in so many ways, it's a dishonor to the other countries for us to be telling others to come to our country to make it better for you, and you can escape your own country, versus stay in your own country and fight for the rights that you have in your country and fight to make that country a better country. But it doesn't seem like that's really the main theme. Why aren't these people fighting for their rights in their own country? I mean, you hear of the wars and civil wars. I mean, why? I get it. It's dictatorships. It's the military. There's a lot goes into that. But at the same time, if you promote things, here's the thing. If you're a very, very rich person and you tell your kid you don't have to go to work, don't have to go to school, you can escape the reality of life because I have all the money and you can just party and do whatever you want. Who's heard these stories? Who's witnessed these stories and seen it with celebrities that have some of the most screwed up kids in the world that have been given everything to them, and because they escaped reality of having to actually work and do things. There was a church right yesterday. It's a beautiful church. We just love that church. Great congregation. Anybody there watching from that church, hey, it was great to see all of you. It really was. And they actually even, Byron, the preacher, recognized me in the church sermon. The sermon kind of hit close to home of what just about happened to me of having a coming to Jesus meeting off my motorcycle. Yes. So for people that have all the money, it's a very fine line of how you handle that, because in so many ways, you're letting your kid or, family members escape reality of having to get out of bed every day and go to work. And that's what's so interesting is you see some powerful people in the world, and you see how one powerful person has family members that seem to want to escape. But then you have another person in the world that's very powerful, and it seems like those members actually have to go do things. But I don't know. That gets kind of twisted in all views and everything else. But here's the biggest thing now with this new Chat GPT. When I say new, it is. You're just talking about this generative pre-trained transformer, OpenAI stuff coming to your computer just here in the last little over a year or 2 years. And is that an escape of you having to work harder on your own to figure things out? Truly, is this OpenAI, is this artificial intelligence going, I know, I get that it's going to make things better. I get that. I understand that. But at the same time, is it going to make it easier for a person to escape having to really put their nose to the book to read and understand things versus having a computer just tell you everything and cut to the chase? So are we going to see the biggest escape of people of their own capabilities being taken advantage of the greed of mankind that wants to make money off of you off the internet, that will enrich them at the expense of you because you want to escape the hardships of having to work hard and actually have to earn your keep, and you got to do the dirty work versus you just have a computer. The robot, I mean, for the robots that are coming from Elon Musk, Optimus, I mean, is that all about you not having to do the work? Now the robot is going to do all the manual labor for you. I mean, it's just very intriguing to see how mankind is going to handle the future of all this technology. But here's what's really very apparent. If you look at where we've evolved in this country, people have escaped from making their own meals. People have escaped from the family traditional meals. Yes, it's factual. Today's generation of people, they're not having dinner together like they used to. What do? They escape. They go to McDonald's. They go to Wendy's. They go to Chick-fil-A. They go to Burger King. What do I mean? Do you realize, you know how much money the McDonald's CEO makes every hour? He makes like $8 million or something. It's something crazy, stupid. But for me, we don't really go out to eat. I really, what I mean by that is typically I'll make a meal. I'd rather make a meal than having to go out to eat. I just enjoy doing that more. It's better for you, and it's more quality time if you can sit down together as a family. But here's the thing. What is the escape created in our society? Obesity like never ever seen. Diabetes like never ever seen. Just total failure of people's well-being because people now will take the escape of having to make their own food, and they'll go to the store, or I should say they'll go to the restaurant, and they'll get the fast food, which what does that do? If you eat fast food all the time, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some fast food, Chick-fil-A to a degree, has, if you eat the right things and other things you don't eat, and in some ways, but it's expensive. I mean, it's very expensive. What is going on more, which I'm going to talk about this tomorrow, I think, in more in depth, is what's going on in college, of how many people want to escape college. This is true. I think I'll call tomorrow's conversation the journey. I think it'll be the journey conversation. I don't know if you've had that one. I don't think we have. So I think tomorrow's video will be a journey conversation, and I'll talk more in depth about what's going on, which is really good, actually. It's pretty cool. If it's really factual and true, what I've read, it's really, to me, exciting to see what's going on. But with college, how many people want to escape the debt? It's huge. What is Joe Biden's main goal is to erase all these unhappy college participants that have apparently spent a lot of money to go to college, and apparently they're not making any money to pay back their debt. And they're very unhappy that they got suckered into going to college and signing off a huge debt, and so they want to eliminate. So they want to escape that debt. And Joe Biden is miraculously pulling that off on getting creative on how he's doing it, but he hasn't pulled it off for the masses. But that will be a major, I'm sure, election conversation, is telling the younger generation that you vote for me, and by the time I'm done in my 8 years of office, you won't have any college tuition debt anymore. There's a lot of things that'll start to be promised with the election year, which will be for those to escape reality of what they created for themselves. And it gets heavy and deep, and I won't go there because there's a lot of conversations I could take that to. But that's it. That's it. The escape, we got to get the wife and kid breakfast. And do I make them breakfast this morning? I don't think I will. I'll do the escape and probably run up the street and get something and bring back home. And then we got to escape and get out of here and get back up north. And after I spent the time cleaning my dually, my trailer, I cleaned the Grand Wagoneer all up for the wife, and then we'll drive back in rain. So all my vehicles are trashed, and there's a Grand Wagoneer. Wife just loves that car. It's a great vehicle. It's incredible on how that vehicle's value is half. Yeah, how many people are excited about that? How many people want to escape owning their car? Yeah, I guarantee a lot, because a lot of people signed off on cars. I mean, think it through. Just think it through. So, in my subscribers reach out, and they bring up good points. I don't disagree. So if you're just patient long enough, that $98,000 car, if you're just patient long enough, you're going to get it for like 60, 65, maybe 70. Yeah, Right. If I was to trade that vehicle right now, I think they'd probably give me 65 for it, maybe. So they're going to put it on the market for 69, 70, maybe 75. But you still have to pay. I mean, I think that Jeep is doing rebates, but it's 98, so they take 10 off. It's 88. The dealer takes 10 off. Here's 78. Well, there you go. Hey, all right, that's it. I'll quit talking. Can you tell? Tell I can talk a lot with my Screaming Eagle. That Harley is such a free-spirited bike. Baddest ass bike I've ever owned. And I am so glad I sold my Indian for that Harley. I really am. Sorry, Indian guys. Harley stepped it up, and in my views, it's a more fun bike. But the Indian has more room. So if you're a big guy, the Indian Challenger is going to be a good fit for you. Just for the record. I mean, so no doubt, Indian Challenger for a bigger guy is a better fit because Harleys are a little bit more cramped. But if you're 6 foot, 6'2" maybe, the Harley CVO will be okay for you. If you're 5'10", it's perfect for you. That's my size. And I can't emphasize enough how fun that bike is. And just putting Reinhardt, go Reinhardt. I'm now the Chromeworks to me are boring. So I'm gonna be out there, buy the 4.5-inch Reinhardt slip-on mufflers for your 121 motor, even your 117. My 117 with those Reinhardts on my Fast Johnny that I traded in, that thing sounded so badass. These Chromeworks, they don't sound that great. They just don't have the rumble like those Reinhardts. So, but the whole point is, if you want the fast, really enthusiast style bike, get the Harley-Davidson CVO ST. If you want the bigger platform bike, get the Indian Challenger Elite. You won't be unhappy with either one, but the CVO ST to me is much more sporty, free-spirited, throw it around, more power. And I like that naturally aspirated V-twin motor. Unlike the Challenger, it's a liquid-cooled motor, so it's a whole different engine. So anyways, that's it. God bless. We're in God's country. I was blessed. I can't emphasize enough. That had that been a split-second difference, you're just talking a second, could have gone a whole different direction. Hey, have a great Monday. Stay tuned for more conversations. And we're heading up the road. I don't know if I'll do any video content on that or not, but you never know with me. So have a great day. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. And share the channel. Share the channel to help it grow. Let the channel grow. I really appreciate that for all those out there. And it means a lot to me. So thanks so much.